to another Commodore 64 assembly language tutorial video. Yeah, so hope you're all doing well. Let's recap what we did on the last video very quickly, because this is going to be a sort of follow-up to that. Now, the last video we looked at doing horizontal scrolling. Obviously, we didn't attach it to any events like, you know, moving the joystick or anything, because, you know, we've covered joystick events and that. We just showed you how to actually scroll the screen. So we just put it in a loop, an infinite loop. But the way we implemented it here, it actually does scroll just one. It does one character at a time. It's not smooth. Okay, so it it doesn't smoothly scroll. It literally shifts the whole map to the left by one character and draws in the new right-hand column. Obviously, we don't see that because we put the Commodore 64 into 38 column mode. So the very left and the very right-hand column are invisible, which is exactly what that is for. So let's just have a quick look what we've got. And there we go. So it's pretty fast. It's not particularly smooth. Okay, so let's reset, because what I'm going to do is show you a little bit about hardware scrolling and how we're going to implement that. Let's just reset my 64. Okay, so the first thing we need to look at is our good old VIC control register here, which is D016. Okay. Now, if we look at that, we've actually already set some bits on this. 0 to 2 we've ignored, but we've actually set, we've ensured that bit 3 is set to 0 because we've set to 38 column mode. Okay. And obviously by default, it's set to 1, which is 40 column mode. Okay. But it's these three here, bit 0, 1 and 2, which are these three. Okay, so these can contain a number, the three of them. It's not even a nibble, I suppose, between 0 and 7. And that is the value we'd like to hardware scroll our screen. That's how many pixels we would want to scroll it by. And yes, pixels, not characters, pixels. And this is a hardware function of the VIC chip. So let me show you what I mean by that. Okay. So what I'd like to do is we'll do something in basic just so I can show you. So this is the decimal equivalent of that address. So we go to our 64 here. We're going to put 38 column mode on. Let's poke 53270 with, let's peek the original value, and basically we want to ensure that bit 3 is off. So how do we do that in basic? Pretty much the same. Okay, so we want to use the AND. We want to keep everything as it is on that side. Okay, and we want to ensure that this one is off. Okay. Oh, one more. Okay, so if you can see what I've done here, I keep everything as it is in there except this bit, which is bit 3. So bit 0, 1 and 2 are the same, whatever they are. 3 we're going to turn off. And because, don't forget, we're ANDing, yeah? So these will be whatever they are, okay? So we look at that, the decimal value is 247. So we'll just do AND 247, 247. So, no, you don't do it like that. I'm not programming in Java or Python. We do it like that, okay? So basically, all we're doing is turning bit 3 off and pushing it back into memory. And that should That should put us into 38 column mode. And there we go. See, we can't see the we can't see the first character. You can barely see our cursor flashing. So the way we can actually demonstrate the hardware per pixel scrolling is if we look at this register here, okay, and we look at these 3 bits, okay, we can just keep incrementing them by 1. Okay, and eventually it will end up, we'll increment this whole address by 1, it'll end up back turning 38 column mode off once it gets to 8, but that's fine. That would have showed us exactly what we need to do. So what I'll do, I just poke 53270 from its own value and then +1, so just incremented by 1 each time. Okay, so if we run this, see it scrolls, and again, and again, and again, and again, and 1 more should get to 8 and put it back to 40 column mode. There we go. See, and we can also rerun that. We could also, you can -1 from it as well, but obviously that'll have some strange effects because I need to do some ANDing with that. I needed to start it off, but maybe if we do +7 there. Okay, so let's try -1, see if we can get it to scroll the other way. Might not work. But no, we just turned multicolour mode on. Right, okay, well anyway, you get the gist. So that value from 0 to 7 is how many pixels it's shifted by, and we can increment that each time. So how do we approach that with our code here? So look, what we'll do is we'll copy everything from video 11. Okay, we'll paste that here. Okay, so this is our code. That's our draw map, isn't it? Okay, that draws our map, and we've also we've got our shift map left and shift map right that we used. And then this is our loop here that actually does the shift. Say I've commented out the shifting left code. So this will just shift right for now. Okay. So what we'll do, let's start by adding a delay in here because it's so fast at the moment we can't really see what's going on. So what I'd like to do is actually get it to shift every 2 raster switches instead of every raster switch. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll just chuck an extra byte down here. Let's just move that up a bit closer. It doesn't matter where we put it because it's. Let's pop that down at the bottom of our loop. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll add a frame number. Okay, and that'll be just a byte. It'll be 0. What we'll do, each time through that loop, we'll increase that by 1, and when it gets to 2, then we'll shift the map, and then reset it back to 0. Okay, just basically adds a delay and doesn't do it on every single raster VSync. Okay, so how are we going to implement that? Okay, this is where it waits for our raster line and just keeps comparing it until it's ready. Right, so what we'll do, before we start increasing the map and doing everything, we'll load into the accumulator the frame number byte, which we've set to 0 at the moment. Compare that with number 2. branch, if it isn't 2, we'll create a label called do nothing. Okay, and that'll be passing down here. Okay, and then under here, put our label do nothing. Okay, so we'll literally just go to here, and what we do want to do is increment this. If we're doing nothing, we want to increment it. Otherwise, it'll just be stuck at 0. So yeah, every time we do something, if it's 0 or 1, then just jump straight to here, which is increase it by 1, and then go back on itself. If it is 2, then we want to start our increasing the map position, etc., etc. Okay, and I suppose what we ought to do here is, once it has done this, is reset that back to 0. So we'll do that first. Okay, so if it is 2, so we're not going to branch to do nothing, we're going to do this. Before we do that, we'll set it back to 0. Okay. No. Load accumulate with 0, store it into frame number. Okay, let's just have a look at that and see if it has actually given us a little bit of slowdown. Oh yes, of course, forgot the exclamation. We do these because if we're going to repeat these loop names in other parts of the program, this is how it knows where it is. You know, this one. It's the one after it, which is here. Okay. That should. There we go. That slowed it down a little bit. Not by a huge amount though, but it's not whipping past like it was before. Okay. Right, now we're going to look at actually doing something very similar with a frame number, but what we will be doing is increasing, instead of shifting the map like we're doing here. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to shift the horizontal scroll value by 1. Okay, until it gets to until it gets over 7, and then we'll reset it back to 0. If it becomes 8, we'll reset it back to 0. That's what we do. We need obviously another byte to store where we're going to have the scrolling number between 0 and 7. So let's just pop on there. Okay, so we'll have this one can be the scrolling counter, and this one will be the actual map position which has been using here. So we have to change this to +1, this to +1. Okay. This doesn't use it, does it? So let's just make sure we haven't broken it. That's fine. Okay, so that's our hardware scroll number. That's our original map position. Okay, so first thing we ought to do is load in the map position. Here, okay, we will load it into the accumulator. I'll put a +0 there so we know it's different. So we're going to load that. Okay. So what we're going to do, because we're scrolling you know, with my example in basic that you saw, it was shifting to the right. We want to shift to the left. So what we want to do is only run this code here, okay, which is actually shifting by one character. We want to only do that when the hardware scroll is 0. When it's 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we want to just subtract 1 from it. Okay. So what we will do, let's just set the carry flag because we're going to do subtraction. It does that. Set the carry flag there. Subtract with carry 1. Okay. And we'll store it back. That's not. Right. Okay. So, if the carry is still set, that means it hasn't computed 0. Okay, or gone below 0. Okay, that's what I mean. So it hasn't gone below 0. So what we want to do is we then want to store that value into the hardware scroll. Okay. So what we're going to do, because you know, once it goes below 0, that is when we want to shift the character by 1 and reset it back to 7. Okay, so that's how our logic will work. Okay, so let's check to see. So we branch of the carry set, and we're not going to shift the characters. So do not shift. Make that a label. Okay. Okay, and what we'll do is that here we will above do nothing. I'll put do not shift. And what we'll do here, we will load in that map position number plus 0. Okay, because we want to store that in the VIC control register without affecting anything else, we need to OR it so that the other values are left intact. So we will OR that with, okay, that can be the same, that can be the same, that can be the same. That needs to be, that's multicolour mode, we need to keep that, whatever. And that, and that. Okay. And then we can store that into the VIC control reg. Right. Let's see what happens. Okay, so wait for the rest now. Okay. Load the frame number in. If it's 2, do nothing. If it's okay. No, if it isn't 2, do nothing. Let's just slow it down a bit. Okay, if it is, load accumulator 0 and store that in the frame number, resetting it. Okay, now we're loading our hardware scroll position, somewhere between 0 and 7. Subtract 1, we'll set the carry, subtract 1, store it back in the byte map position. Okay, if the carry is not set because it hasn't gone below 0, then we just set that hardware scroll value in the VIC control reg, preserving everything else. Okay. If that isn't the case, then we shift everything over. We do the actual shift by one character, as we normally do. Okay, but there's one more thing we need to do. Obviously, when we do this, we've got to set the hardware scroll back to 8, well, between 0 and 7. Let's have a look how we're going to do that and where we're going to do that. Okay, looking through my code, carry will not be set. Okay, so the carry is set. Okay, when you do a subtraction, so we set it first, and it will remain set unless it goes below 0. then it's cleared. Yeah, I just had to double check my logic. So we're right here anyway. So we subtract 1 from the map position. So if it's 0, it ends up being FF with the carry cleared. So what we'll do, if we just add 8 to it, that'll make it 7, because it's like adding 8 to -1, and the carry will be clear. So if we do add with carry, because, well, we can always add with carry, but at this point the carry is clear, because if it was set, it would have jumped to do not shift. So add 8 to it, to that value. So if it's -1, it should become 7, which is how we want it. And then we want to store that position, store that number in map position. I could have just done load accumulator 8 and done it, but yeah, we're just doing some logic. Okay. And it's +0, isn't it? +0. Okay, I think that's it. Oh, I've done it again. Of course, because I've used the exclamations, I've got to put the plus there, haven't I? Oh, okay, I've done something wrong. I've turned multicolour off. Okay, let's just have a look, see what's going on there. Oh, of course. I did that wrong. We want to preserve those 3 and that, and just ensure that bit 1 is set on here, which is multicolour mode on. So we keep this will ensure multicolour mode's on. There. That's better. I'm not sure about this the screen tearing a bit. I think we may have to look at the raster, where we can see it's nice and smooth. Okay, but I think we're getting screen tearing here, which means we change our raster timing on this. So yeah. Okay, what we're doing is we're doing it when it's right sort of down, 3/4 of the way down the screen. And obviously we're starting at the top. So maybe we can pull that up to about 50. So it'll start drawing at the top when the raster bar is about sort of 1/3 of the way down, or halfway down. So it's obviously a lot further up than before. Let's try that. So this is chasing the raster. There we go. That looks better, doesn't it? No tearing at all. And if we can see, it is doing 1 pixel at a time. Let's just go to our preferences, and we'll change the speed. Emulation speed. 10%. Slight bit of tearing there might be there, but you can see that 1 pixel at a time. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. Yeah, that's that slight bit of tearing we've got up here. Okay, it's trial and error with your raster there. So we can probably take it up even more, or maybe down a little bit. But yeah, that looks pretty acceptable to me. Okay. Well, that pretty much completes this this video. This was a sort of follow-up to the first horizontal scrolling video. I will do a quick recap of how we've done it. Okay. So what we have done, we set it to update the scroll every 2 frames instead of every frame. Okay, just to keep it nice and smooth. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't notice. Okay. And what we do in this loop, it's an infinite loop, okay, because of the way we've implemented the scrolling. Okay, what it did before is every time it ran, okay, it would shift the map by 1 character. This will not do that. This will check a byte called frame number that we've set. Sorry, a byte, one of the map position bytes. Okay. Okay. If it falls below 0, it will shift. It will shift by 1 character. If not, it will carry on. It will carry on decrementing it. Okay, until it does fall below 0. Okay. If it is not below 0, then it will decrement the hardware scroll by 1 pixel. Okay, and it will keep doing that until it falls, until the frame number falls below 0. In which case, it will shift everything on by 1 character, and then it will reset the hardware scroll back pixel numbers back to 7. Okay, I know I did this in a roundabout way. Okay, and then the process will start again. So it's an 8 frame cycle, really, if you forget this. Okay, because for 1 to 7, it will just move. It will decrement by 1 pixel. On the 8th frame, it will move the whole map by 1 character, and increment it by 7 pixels. So it's reset back, and then rinse, repeat. Okay, well, as usual, this will be uploaded to my GitLab, which you can see a link to. And the next video will be, thanks to a poll that I've made, how to actually set this development environment up in Windows. I did one a long time ago, and it's pretty bad quality for doing it on a Mac. I will show you how to do it on Windows. Obviously, mine is all completely set up here, so I'll probably run it on a virtual machine with a completely sort of vanilla install of Windows 10 on it. So we'll do it all from scratch, and to get everything up and running just like you've been seeing in these tutorials. Right, once again, thank you very much. Until the next time, bye.